This is Saturday Morning Mysteries.
And we're your hosts, Alexis and Grace.
Hello, good morning, and welcome back to another episode of Saturday Morning Mysteries, where we're your hosts. I'm Grace.
And I'm Alexis.
And we're back for our second episode of Animalia, a show based on a children's book about the alphabet.
Loosely based on a children's book about the alphabet, as mad people on the internet have noted.
Yes, exactly. And we side with them. We're also mad about it, kind of.
Yeah,
I don't know how we feel about it, but Alexis will be telling us how she feels about it and covering her episode today, which ties in, I believe, to my first episode. So if you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to that first, maybe, also to get context into.
Absolutely go back and listen to that first, because you won't know what's going on in this episode today if you do not have the context of last week's episode. Yeah. And I can say this because I speak from experience when I watched episode 2, because for those who are new to the podcast, Grace and I don't watch the episodes that each other covers until after we cover it. So there's like surprise and fresh reactions when we record the podcast. Exactly. Yeah. So I had to watch episode 2 of this show without watching episode 1.
Yep.
And then we quickly found out that episode 1 and 2 are 2 parts. So it's kind of important to have the context of episode 1.
It's a 1 and a 2 situation.
A lot of the writing, exactly, part 1, part 2, a lot of the writing I did for this episode today came after Grace covered her episode last week, because I was like, I can't start my script until I know what the fuck is going on. I'll watch the episode, but I'm not putting anything on paper until Grace explains to me
what the fuck this is.
So
good.
Yes. So on that note, today we're going to talk about episode 2 of the show, the PBS Kids classic, if you will, Animalia. And this episode, it from the jump starts off weird, even from the title being called Goodbye, We Must Be Staying. And
the first episode was called Hello, We Must
Be Leaving.
Leaving
or something. Yeah. Going. Yeah. And that's cute and all, but I guess in my, as a youth, I maybe would have seen that as like, okay, cool, whatever. Yeah. But as an adult, I get very dark vibes from those titles. Something about them makes me think of death. I don't know about you, right?
We did talk about going into the light in my episode.
Yeah. And it has me looking at this show. Things happen in this show that make me wonder, are these kids dead?
Oh, no.
Is Animalia like some post-life, like afterlife world or something?
Limbo.
Or like, are these kids in a coma? Are these, which I know is a classic cop-out for like a literary device or whatever, or a plot device.
But they could be
these
in a coma.
Titles
we literally started with an accident of Alex running into Zoe is how they met each other.
Like,
and
did
her
they both
crashing
get
on her bike.
Actually? Yeah. We'll see.
Oh no.
So we'll do some speculation as we go on.
Okay.
Great. So that's how the episode begins, just from the jump with that title. But in terms of the story of this episode, it is equally as crazy, because the very first second of this episode, we see 10 core spores blasting out of the Animalian core, causing...
I just imagine you watching this without my first episode for context.
I was going to say, if you remember that I did not know what happened in the first episode of this show, I turn on my computer, open up the internet, open up YouTube, type in Animalia. This is the first thing I see. 10 like orbs flying out of this building, and Animalia, which I still don't understand at this point. But anyways, so there is mild panic and confusion among the many animals outside of the library in Animalia who are witnessing this happen. You know, all of these spores flying out of the core. And of the many animals, this includes the one and only Livingston T. Lion, who Grace talked about last weekend. He's basically like the mayor, president, leader of this kingdom. And he's always in the library studying, doing science to understand the core and to make sure that it stays intact so that Animalia can survive. So anyways, Livingston, he's explaining to Alex, Zoe, Gabooboo, Iggy, and Reenie, the rhinoceros, that the core spores that are being ejected by or from the core are also being carried off by the five winds of Animalia: north, south, east, west,
Okay, so
and
far so
most
good.
foreboding of all,
Oh.
the wind of no return.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be like love or friendship.
You know, the wind of friendship and community.
Okay, no, this is
Yes,
the opposite. This leads more into the one of them's dead or in a coma than
exactly.
it's
The
a happy
wind
show.
of no return, which again, foreboding, the name of it alone, but Livingston also consistently says throughout the episode, like, you don't want to get carried off by that one. Like, that's
Okay,
a
so this
bad
is
one.
they're in limbo, and if they get on that
Perhaps
one, that's how they die.
it's bad news bad news lions. I was just say bad news bears. We're not
Okay.
allowed to talk about bears on this podcast anymore for
How come,
reasons that were not
Alexis?
recorded.
Alexis, how
It took
come?
me it took me 2 minutes to bring up bears. Grace and her damn bear slippers.
We had a big reveal plug for our YouTube that every time we
Yeah.
record, I'm wearing my bear slippers,
You're so
which are the
flexible.
which are the size of my head.
The size of her head. For those only listening on audio platforms, one plug for YouTube to see, but Grace is
Yes.
holding up a slipper in the shape of a bear head that is as big as her head.
From
And it's
Deer
adorable.
Foams,
It
hashtag
looks very
sponsor us.
comfy.
But yeah,
sponsor
Alexis
us. Hey,
was
if you're out
like,
there.
we're going to talk about bears. And I was like, there's no bears in Animalia. You
And
can't.
it's like, not until I bring it up.
Until I slipper horn, if you will, this topic in.
Actually, I'll allow that one. That was good. That was good. So,
Uh,
anyways, Livingston is telling this whole gang, our main characters here, that the core spores are, yes, being carried off by those five winds of Animalia. And so the core gang, as I'm going to call them,
Oh,
because
love it.
it's annoying saying like all 4 or 5,
18
however
names.
many of their names exactly over and over again, they all go into the library to take a closer look at this core. And Livingston further explains that the crisis at hand is, or he further explains the crisis at hand. Sorry.
Okay.
So he tells them that the core has great influence over the world of Animalia. And this maybe is going to help put context to your past episode where you see the core, but they don't really talk about what it is or what these spores are.
Except that it's like peaceful, and then we see them all fighting.
Yeah, exactly.
That was it. That's all I got.
Yeah, that's it. So yes, this core has great influence over the world of Animalia. It's nature. It controls the nature of Animalia, the magic of Animalia and all of the Animalians, and it controls or influences the lives of all of the animals living there and the language that they speak.
Okay.
So the core spores have been ejected from the core. Each one of them serves a special purpose, according to Livingston. We'll talk about what those purposes are later, but basically think of, for Marvel and Avengers fans out there, they're like the Infinity Stones. Each one has a different power. One of them can control space. One can control time. One of them can control and manipulate reality, etc. These spores all do something different that help maintain the fabric of society in Animalia. And so Livingston goes on to say that with 10 of these things missing, something will go wrong. He doesn't know yet because he doesn't know which core spores they are, but he knows that it's only a matter of time until chaos ensues. So Gabooboo, Iggy, and Alex are immediately like, well, hell yeah, let's go retrieve these 10 core spores so that we can protect you guys before any of the bad stuff allegedly happens. And so they turn around and rush out of the library, ready to get to this mission and go on this adventure to save Animalia. But as they're leaving, they notice that someone is missing from their gang. Remember, I just said Gabooboo, Iggy, and Alex.
Oh, no.
So they turn around and they're like, Zoe, what are you doing back there? Don't you want to come with us to save Animalia? But Zoe, she's kind of hesitant. She's very hesitant. And she just stays back for a second. And she says, actually, I was planning on leaving. Like,
oh.
Uh-oh.
Where's that north wind? Where's that point of no return wind?
The wind of no return. And she goes on to say, you know, like, Animalia is great and all. Don't get me wrong. This place is magical. It's wonderful. But like, Alex, we kind of have to get back to reality. And I think that my parents are going to be super worried about me if I don't show up back home in time for dinner or if I've
Yeah.
already missed dinner. Like, think about our family, Alex. They're probably freaking out
We
now,
got to
which in
talk
this
this whole
moment
time. Yeah, about the
makes me
cops being
think
called.
yeah, one, like like Zoe could be right. Panic might be taking over the whole town as these two kids have gone missing.
Yeah.
But it also, at this point, makes me look at Alex a lot differently, that he's not freaking out about this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
Zoe clearly has a family, he clearly cares about her family and is like, my parents are
Yeah.
freaking out and worried about me. Alex, is he like, an orphan? Does he have parents? Does he have family? Is he okay? Because at no
Oh,
point does he ever show any concern for what's happening outside of
oh
Animalia.
no.
Like, he is
Uh-oh.
fully in this world,
He's like,
right?
this world's better. This is sad. Oh no.
And I was like, oh no,
Oh
that's not
no,
a good
Alex.
sign.
So he's
No.
just the books are his only friends. Oh no.
Yeah, at this
Okay.
point, yeah. And because you're thinking back to your first episode where it's like,
Yeah.
even in the real world, he seemed very eager to always be at the library.
Yeah.
Like,
We did
I
see him at his
fear that
house
he's
for
a
a second, but there
loner.
were no parents there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
Oh
sad. So I feel like he's a
no.
loner. Like, he doesn't maybe really have any friends. And so this world seems very familiar and like friendly to him. And he's happy
Oh.
to stay, even though it's clearly dangerous. Not
Yeah.
only are there these massive wild animals, or civilized
Yeah.
for now, put a pin in that.
Oh
But
no.
also we see that like the fabric of the society is collapsing
And he's
because
like,
like these
cool.
core spores, he's like, cool, we can save this. Cool. This is
Yeah.
much better than the real world.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, boy, what
Uh,
is going on at home? Alex,
Zoe's
talk
like,
to
do
us,
you want to
please,
come over
sir.
for dinner?
Like, I promise we can be friends. Okay. I know we
Yeah.
weren't friends when we got here, but like we are now. So like
Yeah,
I
you
want to
can
help
come over.
you.
It's okay.
Which
We've
like
got an
she
extra
does.
bed.
She kind of implies later, like, no, like I want to help you, Alex. So just like again, putting pins in all of this stuff.
Oh
We
no.
come
Okay.
full circle on these conversations by the
Okay.
end. So, yes, Zoe is coming to her senses. She's making all of the sense in the world right now by saying that she's
Yeah.
kind of actually trying to dip and get back home. But Alex pleads for her to stay, saying that they really need her help to protect Animalia and that she can return home as soon as they find these 10 core spores and fix the core. They're like, this is all
Mm.
we got to do. It's one more day or however long it takes, and then we'll get right back out of here. I
It's pretty
promise.
non-committal to the let me go home. Am I being kidnapped?
Hi. So Zoe, she cuts through the shit. She has some real talk with Alex here.
Oh yeah.
And she's
Love
like,
Zoe.
listen, Alex, I shouldn't even be here. All right. She basically blames this whole situation on him
She's
because
not wrong.
he is, after all, the one who found that portal in the real world
Yeah.
library. And like, she just kind of got sucked into it with him. So she tells her, like, if it wasn't for you, I'd be at home doing my homework and eating dinner with my family right now.
Yeah.
Animalia is your thing, Alex, not mine.
Mm.
But Kabubu and Iggy, who we know has like weirdly a crush on Zoe
We're
for
gonna
whatever
say they're all
reason.
teens. Gabubu
Yeah,
like is like
exactly.
a
Iggy and
17-year-old boy.
Gabubu.
Iggy's definitely also a
Exactly. He's like
teen.
a
It's
14,
fine.
15-year-old. Yeah, iguana.
Yeah.
It's all good. But these two, they sweet talk Zoe a little bit, saying like she could be super helpful if she stays and helps him resolve this impending crisis. And Iggy says, like, I won't survive without you here. And so she eventually gives in and she says, fine, I'll stay. But for the record, I reserve the right to leave at any time.
Correct.
Gabubu and Iggy are like, sure, absolutely. And Alex is also like, sure, after we find the core spores.
I'm seeing why Alex might not have friends.
He is a little too hard-headed and a little too determined. Once he gets something in his mind, he does not give
He
it up.
assumes everyone's on board. Okay, got it.
On board with
Interesting.
him, yes. So the gang, they take off into the wild jungles and wilderness of Animalia, attempting to retrieve these 10 core spores to maintain order in Animalia, and so that Zoe can obviously get back home in time for dinner. But after the kids leave, we see some more weird events take place at the library.
Okay.
Livingston and Renee, they obviously stay back there. That's like where they work and do all of their stuff. So they don't go on this adventure with the rest of the gang. They're like monitoring the core.
Mhm.
And really, like, Livingston gets super, like, scientifically into this. He's got on, like, those long, like,
Yeah,
glasses and
glasses.
everything, and is, like, putting a stethoscope up to the core, trying to, like, track its pulse and monitor, like, if other spores are getting ready to fly out of it, and really trying to diagnose the cause of the problems.
Mhm.
But Livingston seems to not be able to focus so much on the science of all of this. He keeps getting distracted by how hungry he is. And he takes a look at Renee and
Oh
tells
no.
her that, you know, she looks as good as a buffet dinner today.
This lion is
Which
saying this? This
a
lion?
lion is saying this to a rhino, yes, which, you know, could be a compliment. Like, girl, you look good enough to eat.
Right.
Which
But did he
also,
say it like that?
he did not say it like that,
Did he
though.
say it
No.
like
So,
that?
yeah, it definitely is more of a scary threat, considering that, yeah, this isn't like an NSFW sort of book. This is based on that. This is based on a
Right, the
alphabet book,
library lights
basically.
dim. It's just the light of the core.
Yeah, exactly. It
Some
turns like
soft
purple and
jazz.
pink. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
all.
The low lights. You look good, Renee. No, yeah. So Renee is put off by this comment from Livingston, but she too is getting a little distracted and also starts to kind of gear towards like this animalistic rage when from outside of the library she hears the Ride of the Valkyries playing
Oh
on
no. You know
speakers.
who's on their way?
Getting louder and louder
Mhm.
outside. And so she runs out there to see where that noise, where that music is coming from. And of course, yes, she sees Allegra. Last week, Grace talked about them. They're like Allegra's henchmen or sidekicks, these
Mhm.
Mad Max style warthog lackeys circling around the library in their ATVs with the speakers blaring. And as a librarian, Renee hates all of the excessive noise, obviously,
Mm.
not only because it makes the library too noisy, but also because she just says, like, the song is driving her crackers, as she says in her
Oh, good
Scottish
Scottish
accent.
accent.
Scottish accent. So Renee gears up to charge the warthogs. Like, she's on all fours. She's kind of like driving her feet
Oh,
into the
damn. Okay.
ground, ready to run after these
Okay.
things. And she immediately just like launches off and chases after the warthogs as they continue
Okay.
blaring Ride of the Valkyries and like speeding around in their ATVs, trying to escape this absolutely terrifying and enraged
Yeah,
rhinoceros.
being charged by a rhino. Cool.
Yes. And so Renee, she's able to catch up with them and she does ram her horn into the ATVs, forcing them
Oh.
to like swerve around and spin
Oh.
out all over like the road in the city, like outside of
Uh-huh.
the library. And she eventually just like chases them into the woods and like into the forest. Like, she just leaves her post at the library and like chases after these
Oh.
warthogs,
Okay.
which is very
Bye.
uncharacteristic for Renee.
Yes,
Okay,
she's so like
bye.
soft spoken and like
Hmm.
gentle. And
Exactly, with
now
her sweet
is
Scottish accent.
trying to
Yeah.
murder with these
Yeah.
warthogs. Okay.
Two warthogs,
Okay.
which is terrifying to think about because for those who don't know a lot about rhinos, they're pretty
Tell me
fucking
about
terrifying
rhinos.
creatures.
Tell me about
So, like,
rhinos.
I figured, do you want to talk about rhinos for a second? Just like
Yes. Oh
real
my
quick. At
God.
least black rhinos, like
Yes.
Renee. Yes. So
Tell me everything. I
I'll
love a
tell you. I'll tell
rhino.
you everything that Wikipedia told me, at least, or at least a few of the
Wiki it up.
paragraphs. Wiki it. Yeah,
Oh my God.
we'll
Okay.
do
I'm
our
so
little
excited.
rabbit hole here. So, the black rhinoceros, aka the hook-lipped rhinoceros, is
Okay.
what Renee is in this show. And although she speaks with a Scottish accent,
Inexplicably.
this animal is native exclusively to Eastern and
To
Southern
Scotland.
Africa. So,
Oh, what?
almost. They actually, by way of
They're
Scotland,
really
sorry.
similar. Yeah.
That's where they started. They migrated actually down
It's so
to
easy to get
Eastern
them
and Southern
confused, these
Africa.
places.
I know, it's crazy. South Africa, Scotland, it gets crazy around here, okay? So the species is classified, sadly, as either critically endangered or, in the case of the southwestern black rhino, near threatened. And obviously, unfortunately, as per usual, many to most of the threatening factors include poaching and habitat reduction from environmental issues and climate change.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, 3 subspecies of black rhinos have been fully declared extinct, including the western black rhino, which was declared extinct in 2011 by the International Union for Conservation of
Damn.
Nature, the IUCN.
Hmm.
And as of 2021, the IUCN estimated that about 3,142 mature rhinos remained in the wild worldwide, or I guess
Whoa.
Africa wide, I guess, if
Yeah.
they're wild. Um, and so, although the species is referred to as black, its colors vary actually from brown to gray.
Mm.
And the whole thing with like, so there's a black rhino and there's a white
Right.
rhino. And I didn't write this down, but it seems like the name white rhino is kind of a misnomer where people were confusing the pronunciation of the Afrikaans word, the South African Afrikaans word,
Uh-huh.
wide, which is like WJD, and they pronounced it like
Oh.
white instead of
Oh.
or sorry, it's like WYJD. And so they were pronouncing it as white instead of wide.
Wide.
But
Oh, okay.
it's the wide mouth rhino is the white rhino, and the
Oh,
hook-lipped
hook.
rhino is the
Okay.
brown rhino or the black rhino. And it really is just about like the size of their mouth and
Oh,
like their jaw
interesting.
structure is what makes them different. So
Yeah.
that's why not all black rhinos are actually black, because they just think that the whole like white black distinction was a
Oh.
misnomer in the first place.
Okay, that makes way more sense
Whatever.
because I've always wondered why the white
Yeah.
rhino is called that. Because I'm like, what?
Yeah, different, like a wider mouth, basically,
Yes,
according to Wikipedia, who has never failed me. So I trust it.
correct.
And so the typical adult black rhino stands anywhere from 52 to 71 inches tall up to their shoulder,
Okay.
and they can range from 9.2 to 12.3 feet long. So very, very
Oh,
long,
okay.
weighing in anywhere from 1,760 pounds to 3,090 pounds. So they are very fucking big.
Yeah. Also, like, would not if even if I was on an ATV, not feeling safe if one is coming at
No,
me. Like,
exactly. Yeah. So
the
like
ATV
keep all of
cannot go
that in
fast enough.
mind. Keep all of that in mind as we see Rini in this show
Yes,
literally becoming
me
feral here and like
exposed on
chasing
an
down other
ATV.
Animalians.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. But it's commonly assumed that black rhinos have poor eyesight, which is hilarious because I'm pretty sure Rini
Oh,
usually has
I think
glasses on in this
yeah, her little
show.
like spectacles.
Yeah. Yeah. Which could be because she's a librarian. And also, though, I just thought that was
Or it's
funny
because they have
because maybe they
eyesight.
thought she had bad
There
eyesight.
we
But
go.
that's actually also kind of like an urban legend or like a myth or whatever,
Oh,
because studies have shown that their eyesight is comparatively good. In fact, like similar to that of a rabbit. So,
oh,
I mean,
okay.
I don't know, maybe not the best, but also not as bad as like their reputation gives
Did
them.
rhinos write that fun fact so people thought that they'd be too easy
I'm
to
not going
kill?
to say where the citation from that statistic or that from that
Yeah,
little
we have
tidbit
a
of
horrible
information is.
eyesight for sure. You can get super close to us. We won't be able to gouge
We
you.
won't even see you.
Get close to
We all
that
need
horn.
glasses. We're so silly. Us silly little rhinos. We can't even
I
see.
can't see anything. My glasses.
Although black rhinos are herbivorous browsers, like rather than carnivorous hunters
Hmm.
or gather anything like that, grazers, I mean, they do have a reputation for being super, super aggressive, and they charge
Mm,
readily at perceived threats, as we've seen Rini do here.
mm.
And they have even been observed to charge tree trunks and termite mounds. So, like, if it pisses them off, they're going to charge it.
It's
It
going
doesn't even have
down.
to be something that's moving. If they're angry, they're just going to run right at that shit.
Okay.
And this aggression is actually, sadly, one of the leading causes of mortality in rhinos,
Uh,
because on average, black rhinos will fight each other, and they actually, on average, have the highest rates of mortal combat recorded for any mammal. So
oh,
about
whoa.
50% of male rhinos and 30% of female rhinos die from combat related injury. So just from fighting each other.
Each other. Damn,
Yeah,
y'all.
which is crazy and sad because it's like, guys, the
You
poachers
guys
and
are
like climate change
dying.
is enough. Exactly.
Yeah.
Stop it. Do you not
You guys are
read the room?
you guys are making it
Read the
worse. It's time to
Serengeti.
band together.
Yeah.
It's time to come together.
Come together right now
Over me.
over me.
Dun, 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 dun.
So, the last little fact about them is that adult rhinos normally have no natural predators because they are massive and they have super thick skin that's hard to penetrate. And they have the very big horns. And yes, they're very mad and aggressive. But adult rhinos have in the past, or like in exceptional circumstances, fallen prey to crocodiles, and younger and smaller rhinos may be preyed upon by lions as well. And while we don't see crocodiles in this show, we do see like a distant relative, the alligator. So just noting those things that, yes, two animals that have been known to prey upon rhinos, kind of ish, alligator versus crocodile, are living right here in Animalia.
Uh-oh. Interesting. Okay.
So pins all around, we should say, dropping some pins.
Also, I'm like wondering of like, oh yeah, they don't really have a natural regular predator. Is that why evolutionarily they became so angry and aggressive so that they would just kill each other? Like, what is the purpose of having a species kill Interesting.
Sounds like another predator out there, species that perhaps an apex species of some sort who's too intelligent to that can only kill itself and not actually it kills a lot of other things too, but kills itself more than anything else. Anyways,
the highest rate of killing themselves among mammals, not including.
Yeah, I know. When I said that, I was like, are they not including humans as mammals in this statistic?
But I guess like,
well, 50%, that would be. I wonder, 50% of human males, are they killed from combat or from like other? I'm not a social scientist, so I don't know. So, I mean, it might be. But I did. That's hilarious you said that because I did think the same thing. Like, are we not mammals anymore? What happened?
Excuse me. Also, us immediately centering ourselves in this story about animals, proving the point.
That we are the worst. Point proven and taken.
Yeah. Point check, match us.
Check and mate. Thanks, Graham Base, or whoever did the show.
Graham
not
Base,
the book, maybe.
wrote this.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So
amazing.
Anyways, all of that rhino talk aside, we would be scared in this moment if we saw Renee doing this shit, and everyone else in Animalia is equally scared and in shock seeing her charge after these warthogs, knowing that she's this very timid, kind, kind of ditzy sometimes, cute little librarian.
Yeah.
And Livingston is super shocked too, because they're probably like two very close friends, so he knows her very well and knows that this is just very uncharacteristic for her. So he's still in the library, kind of watching her run off from the balcony. And now he, too, is becoming increasingly panicked and scared because he's like, if Renee is doing this shit, then it's only a matter of time before something else crazy pops off here.
Yeah.
So he gets distracted again, though, from her running off by thinking of how hungry he is. Like, he just can't shake his hunger. And he kind of starts roaring or like purring a little bit. Growling, and has to like keep shaking it off. Like he sees little animals coming in and out of the library as they tend to, and they're kindly saying hello to him like, hi, Livingston. And he starts like roaring and growling at them. And so they run away, and he is now very worried. And at this moment, the library, if he wasn't worried enough, it gets worse. The library begins to shake, almost like an earthquake is happening. And he looks at the core, and it appears to be more agitated. I think it starts like turning red or something like that. And so Livingston begins to piece things together and realizes that the odd behavior that he's experiencing and witnessing from others has to be related to all of these core spores just being released from the core and whatever is making the core like shake and agitate right now. So he starts to really worry that Alex and Zoe might not return those 10 core spore before breaks loose here in Animalia. Yeah. And honestly, as a viewer of this show, I start wondering and worrying about the same thing.
Yeah.
Because again, who are Alex and Zoe and all? Zoe doesn't even want to be here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm more worried like they're not going to return. Period.
Also true.
Yeah.
Also
not just
true.
like
they're in
not
going
to return the core spores, but like they're in an earthquake in a jungle.
Exactly. Yeah. Where the animals who were once civilized and relatively kind to them are now becoming more feral and like primal and wild. So we'll see how this goes. And yes, we do see Alex, Zoe, Gabooboo, and I can't say his name without
I know.
laughing. And
I'm
I
trying
always
so
just
hard
want to
every
say
time not to
Greg.
interrupt you. Greg,
Yeah,
please call me
Greg.
Gaboo. Greg was
My
my
name's
father.
Greg, but my friends call me Gabooboo.
Please, Gregory was my father.
Yes. And so, yeah, they're on their journey to find and return the 10 core spores. But we also see that this journey, this adventure is a lot less than safe. Like it's not just some cute
Yeah.
little stroll through the woods to like pick up little Easter eggs almost, right? Because these core spores, when they got shot out of the core, they were like ejected and just landed into the most, I swear, the most dangerous places that anything could
The
ever
jungle.
land. Like the very top of these massive jungle trees. They're
Mm,
hanging off of these branches that are dangling over steep cliffs into waterfalls. They're
perfect.
like stuck in these massive giant spider webs deep in
Oh,
the dark
they can
jungle. And
they
then
can keep
like
that one. That was mine.
you can have that. We don't need all 10 of them, do we?
Yeah,
Right? We
10's
can
a
do
lot.
like 7 or 8. That's a
Yeah.
lot. Like, what about 5?
I'm
Can we
trying to
have
get
where they're
at
like
least 50%.
bargaining with the
Yeah.
core?
You know
Can
what? C's
we
get
do 5?
degrees.
Yeah,
7? D's
exactly.
get
7.
degrees. 6.
D's get
Perfect.
degrees. Yeah. So yeah, while the first 7 core spore, like they have a whole montage, it's kind of cute of them like adventuring
Mm,
and finding all these things. And the first 7 of them are somewhat easy to find, all things
okay.
considered. Again, that they're in this absolutely wild and dangerous world of Animalia.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they're going down to the bottom of some deep, dark cave, sure, but like it's there.
Sure.
They get it. They're back out. It's
Okay.
fine. So those first 7 are kind of easy for them. But the
Okay.
hunt for those first 7 still took the gang days, according to Gabooboo.
Zoe
Days,
is
plural.
pissed. Zoe has
Zoe is
missed
like,
dinner.
I've missed dinner. And also, at this point, being who I am, a lover of food, it had me wondering,
Yeah,
are
what are they
these kids
eating?
eating while they're down here? What's happening? Are they
Yeah.
just eating like plants and stuff?
And like
They're with
bugs.
2 herbivores, like they're with a
Yeah.
gorilla and an iguana. So like, yeah, what are like, do they know what humans eat?
No,
Do Alex
absolutely. They
and
didn't even know
Zoe,
what
Alex and
humans
Zoe aren't going to
were.
start like hunting and eating
Yeah.
the animals of
There's right.
Animalia. Could you
I think
imagine?
they're all vegetarian in Animalia slash, well, I guess
Yeah.
maybe not. They eat bugs probably. But like
Yeah, true.
also
Maybe, I don't know.
they
The bugs
they
kind of have
didn't
some personalities too. Some
yeah,
of
they didn't
them.
know what humans were when Alex and Zoe arrived, so they definitely don't know what they eat. And also, I guess
Yeah.
the question is also, how does time move in this world compared
Put a
to
pin in
our
that.
world?
Put
Okay.
a pin in that. It
Okay.
comes up in this episode. Yes. Yes.
Good to
So
know.
on
Okay.
that note,
Okay.
we'll move on then.
Great.
So yes, those 7 core spores that they found took days to find, according to Gabooboo, and they still have 3 more to find before they can fix the core.
Okay.
So they continue their search deep into the forest, and the gang spots core spore number 8. They see them
Okay.
through binoculars way on the other side of the jungle. So they start to make their way towards this neon green core spore, the 8th spore. But unfortunately, after only a few steps forward, they fall deep into a trap
Oh, a trap.
hole.
Okay.
A trap hole. And I say it's a trap because it's a hole that was covered with leaves and dirt and sticks and stuff. So someone
Oh.
clearly dug it and
Uh-oh.
just hit it so that someone would fall in.
Okay.
And they're at the bottom of this hole, kind of wondering, like, how the hell did we get down here? And Zoe takes this opportunity to remind the group that she should have left Animalia when she had the fucking chance.
She's right.
Like,
She's
she's
absolutely
right.
correct. She's like, now
No
I'm gonna die in
lies.
a
Yeah.
fucking pit and no one knows where I am.
And no one will know.
Yeah.
No one.
No,
Yeah.
this is my death. Okay, cool.
Great. Love it. Hate that for all of us, actually, but
Yeah.
especially me.
Yeah,
But
mainly me. I don't care about you guys
mainly
right now.
me. Yes. But her complaints are interrupted by the age-old thing, capitalism. When we see what is called
The face
in
of capitalism.
Animalia, good old capitalism, we see a flutter vision, which is like the
Mm,
Animalia equivalent of a TV, which is actually just this massive butterfly that projects
yeah.
like video images on its wings. It flies down to the bottom or flutters down to the bottom of this hole and turns on. and it starts playing an advertisement for Tyrannicus Towing and Roadside Service, a cutting-edge company that can conveniently help folks get out of any hole or pit they may find
Oh,
themselves
wow.
in.
How convenient.
How
For a low, low
convenient.
price. Call now.
And at the end of the ad, which of course Tyrannicus the tiger, who we met in your last episode, he's all suited up naturally. He's the one doing this ad. At the end of the ad, he encourages his viewers to pick up that grapevine and give him a call for all of their towing needs. And yes, the grapevine. Iggy, he looks down and he sees conveniently that there is a grapevine at the bottom of this hole.
Wow, it's
What?
meant to
Wow.
be.
It's crazy. And yes, hilariously, Iggy is like, wow, this hole has everything. Who would have thought? And he picks up
Except
the grapevine
food,
and jokingly,
water, an exit.
to that end, he jokingly makes a call to room service. Like, room service, you there? Like, probably wanting
Amazing.
food. Exactly. And the grapevine does indeed have a direct line to Tyrannicus's office.
Wow.
Crazy coincidence, right?
This has got to be a crime somehow. I don't know how this feels criminal.
Oh, it is. It is. Just you wait. Because in just like the click of a finger, he and Fuchsia Fox are there. Tyrannicus and Fuchsia Fox, they show up at that pit to collect their cash, or to collect these helpless animals and humans who just need help. They need some towing services. So once they get them out of the pit and with the towing services, quote unquote, paid for in full, Tyrannicus is like counting through his bills, like, all right, Fuchsia, they're good. You can give them their receipt.
Yeah, we can get them out.
We're all good. The kids, Gabooboo and Iggy, very quickly realize that Tyrannicus likely dug this hole himself.
Yeah,
so
he's
that
got
he can make
grifted by a
quick buck.
grifter.
Literally, yes. They're like, how crazy is it that an ad, that the Flutter Vision appeared down there right after we fell, and it was automatically programmed to play your ad? And Tyrannicus is like, well, gotta be a forward-thinking businessman. Gotta just know. You gotta know when the business calls. Exactly. But then they said, and it's crazy that there was a grapevine down there too in the bottom of this hole. Who put that there? And he's like, yeah, that's weird, huh? And then they say, and it's even crazier that it had a direct line to your office, huh? Yeah. And he's like, we're always ready to call. We're always ready to answer the call. And Fuchsia Fox is just rolling her eyes at him like she is honest. Like, and she's like, yeah, dude, obviously we're fraudsters. But Tyrannicus leans into it like, no. Like, how dare you accuse me of such a thing? Like,
a classic fraudster move. Throw it back on their face. They're the victim now.
Every time. So he's obviously not too happy with them, but he just tells them to go and get out of here. Get on your way. We've got your money. Go back to what you were doing. But after the kids start to walk away with Gabooboo and Iggy and they head to that core spore in the tree, Tyrannicus, he still kind of sees this. And so he asks them to stop what they're doing as he sees them plucking this core spore out of a tree branch. And he says, whoa. I own all of the mineral rights to the land that we're standing on right now. So anything that you take from this land got to come through me first. And he's like, hand it over. Give me that stone.
Oh, he's pulling some mineral rights.
He is. Yeah. Or some alleged mineral rights. Because Fuchsia's like, you do? You own the mineral rights here? She's like, I have all of your business records. Literally, she's always like reading through some like a notepad or something. And she's like, God. No, you don't. But he's like, yes, I do. Give me that stone.
Fast.
He is. Hey, this is an entrepreneurial mind. Okay, this guy.
Fraud.
Live, breathe, and die for the fraud, which is the theme of our day, apparently. But anyways, so Tyrannicus, he gets like very angry when the kids refuse to hand him the stone. They're like, no, it's a core spore. They try to explain it to him. Like, no, we have to get this back to Livingston. It's like, for the sake of all of us, no, you cannot have this. Tyrannicus, though, he starts growling at them. And he's like, give me it now. And gets a lot angrier to the point where he gets on all fours and starts prowling towards the kids and Gabooboo and Iggy. But Gabooboo, he stands tall and starts to beat his chest, threatening Tyrannicus to back off. Good. But it's not really working. Fuchsia is also trying to calm him down, saying like, dude, boss, ease off. Like, you are about to get your ass whooped by this massive gorilla, which Maybe in like a couple weeks, maybe I'll talk about gorillas in my next video because
Amazing.
honestly, end of the day, very good that Alex and Zoe have Gabubu on their side because that's
Oh,
literally the last animal that you want to mess with is
yeah,
a
truly.
giant gorilla. Like, and Fuchsia knows this. She's like, buddy, you're about to get your
Yeah,
ass whooped
bro,
if you try to
bad
prowl him.
idea.
Don't stop. But it's too little, too late. Tyrannicus is like full primal feral mode right now.
Damn.
He just immediately springs off and starts chasing after the core group on all fours,
Damn.
hunting them through this jungle, roaring at them, growling at them, hunting them down. And now remember, the gang has been on the hunt for these core spores for days now, according to
Yes.
Gabubu. So the effects of the core spores missing from the core have unfortunately begun, and they're clearly reaching further away from the library because they're deep in
Yeah.
the forest now. But back at the library, we see Livingston still hard at work trying to examine and monitor the
Okay.
core's activity. But his work is interrupted by fierce roars and screams of the animals outside in the city, who have all begun to just act straight up feral. Like he looks out on the balcony and he just sees animals chasing each other, hunting each other,
Oh,
fighting,
no.
and just
Oh,
generally
God.
running wild.
This
Yeah.
is the purge. The purge day.
Purge. He like gets on a loudspeaker. You have 24 hours to engage in this behavior, and then we have to go back to normal.
Get it out
So Livingston, yeah, he sees that this is a huge problem and he panics a little bit more and immediately gets back to researching which specific core spores came out of the core so that he can figure out what the fuck is going on. Because again,
Yeah.
each spore controls something different in the fabric
Right.
of society here. And so he does some reading. He's like flipping through books and he like lets out this massive gasp, like, oh no, not those ones, not those core spores. This
Yeah.
is much dire than previously thought. So he goes off before explaining to the viewer which spores they are. He goes off, of course, got to have a good plot device to save it for the end. Yeah, you know. So he goes off to find Rini and share this information with her.
Uh-oh.
But
What's she up to?
when he finds her, he notices that she's not like herself, even more enraged and furious than she was earlier while chasing after the warthogs. And without a single word of warning, as soon as he walks in front of her, she just immediately charges Livingston.
Oh, damn.
And starts chasing him through the library, forcing him to climb on top of a library shelf and like hide, almost like a little cat. Like he's terrified of her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit.
Because
Okay.
she can't climb, which I should have looked up. I don't think rhinos can really climb.
Pretty
So
sure they can't
that
climb,
probably checks out. Eventually, the clamor of the animal roars and the noises from outside of the library draws Rini away from Livingston. And so she decides to run out there and kind of chase after those
Get in that
animals for
fray.
a while.
Okay.
Exactly. She's like, let me join this purge, this
Yeah.
societal
I can't miss my
collapse.
chance.
Yes, I only got 24 hours.
I pent up this rage every single year for this one day.
Do you know how stressful
know,
it
I've
gets
got
in
a
this
lot of it.
library? Damn it.
Yeah.
It's my chance. Let me go out here and get these
Fuck
motherfuckers
some
out
shit
of
up.
here.
Okay.
So
Great.
Livingston, he takes this opportunity to climb down from the library shelf and make his way again to the outer balcony where he can like look over the kingdom, examine his subjects, and like really take in all of the panic and
Not
like
good.
rage that these Animalians are currently exhibiting.
Can't
And
imagine he
not good.
sees good things.
He does not. And he really is like, oh, this is way worse than I thought. Like, this is bad.
There's
And
like
he says,
fires.
pitchforks. You see like the warthog just crashing into buildings.
Oh my
It's
God, yeah.
bad. But it gets even worse when Livingston says that these animals, they all look so wild, so savage, so
Oh no.
delicious.
Don't say it. No. Okay. He's been resisting so well. He's been doing so
he
good.
holds
He's so
back.
much stronger than everyone else, but
I know, but he
Mine's
can
gotta
only
eat.
do so much. Exactly. The tummy, man. The tummy can outweigh the
getting
brain
hangry.
any day.
9
Exactly.
times out of 10 for me.
And so he stops himself and tries to like smack himself out of it. And he starts holding back the drool that's slowly starting to drip out of his
Oh, we
mouth.
can't
He's like
lose him.
salivating,
Okay.
looking at these animals down below. But he shakes it off. He says, no, God, no, not me too. realizing that
Keep it
he
together.
is becoming more primal, more wild, more hungry for animal flesh. And yeah, like you're saying, he knows that if he loses it, Animalia's fucked because he is like the mastermind of all of this. He's not only the leader, but he's clearly like the most intelligent person there.
And he's the
So
only
if
one who
he
like knows
goes,
about the core spore, like the core spores. Like, what do you do with them
exactly,
afterwards? He knows.
exactly.
Okay.
And again, being the smartest person the smartest animal in Animalia, and realizing that yes, he is the only one that holds all of this knowledge, and seeing that he's increasingly losing control and becoming more and more primal, he decides to run to his office and record a video message for Alex and Zoe in case he is fully wild. Yes, and back to his natural, very, because it is well, we'll get to it in a minute, but like it ends up being like a found footage type thing.
Oh, yeah, he goes feral at the end. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh no, bad. Okay.
So very, very grim and dark, where it's like, oh shit, we just found this. It's like the black box, like where you find the tape before the horrible accident happens. Yeah.
Okay.
So meanwhile, back in the jungle, the kids, Gabooboo and Iggy, are still on the run from Tyrannicus. And they're trying to like hide behind trees, hide behind bushes and shrubbery, but he keeps finding them. He's got their scent. He's running and prowling after them. And thankfully for the kids, they eventually come across a portal. Apparently they just pop up in Animalia, wherever. I don't know.
No context? Just there?
It's just there. There's no context to where this portal came from. Literally, they're just running through the forest. And I think Alex is like, hey, there's a portal. Let's run through it. And they do.
Great.
They have no other option.
Last time they ended up here.
Exactly. You know, maybe they'll end up back home, and then they'll just have Gabooboo and Iggy with them. Who knows?
Lizard in the middle of like the New York Public Library.
It doesn't close in time, so then Tyrannicus runs through too.
Oh god. Okay. Shit. Perfect.
So yes, they decide to jump through this portal. Thankfully, it does disappear and close before Tyrannicus can catch them, meaning that these kids get to live to see another day, maybe.
Okay, where did they pop out on?
They popped out right smack dab in the middle of the swamp.
Okay.
And right at the feet of Her Royal Highness, ruler of the swampdom, Queen Allegra.
Well, hi there.
Well, hi there. Literally, which is basically what she says. And that's why I say maybe these kids get to live another day, because unfortunately, after outrunning a tiger, they find themselves now at the feet of like 3 alligators, because she's also joined by her little reptile friends, Bitsy and Snitsy, I think are their names, according to Wikipedia. I don't think they say them in the episode. But yeah. Queen Allegra, I call her, because she's truly leaning into like a royal highness sort of aura right now. Because Bitsy and Snitsy, as it turns out, they found this real pretty, glowy, shiny stone that just kind of fell out of the sky into her swamp. And they decided to turn it into a crown jewel for their girl Allegra so that she could take her rightful seat at the throne of the swampdom. Allegra is like a southern country girl, for those wondering what the accent is about.
You didn't listen to our first episode?
If you didn't listen to episode 1, we warned you.
And also, you're missing out on our discussion of Allegra.
Exactly. Go back to listen to what Allegra is wearing. I'm not going to describe it here because Grace did a perfect job doing it last week. Yeah, go get that context if you haven't already. So anyways, yes, Allegra is wearing this crown with this bright, shiny, beautiful yellow gem on top of it. And she does look great. And she's feeling herself, she's assuming the position, ordering people around, telling people to get out of her swampdom.
Out of my way.
And Gabooboo tells Allegra to quit messing around with them, and tells Allegra that they're looking for core spores. And Allegra's like, well, there ain't no boar spores here. Now go and get out of my swamp.
Get my swamp.
Go get. And the core gang, they take a closer look at Allegra's crown, and they realize, they're like, no, Allegra, the core spore, it's on your head. That's the 9th core spore. We need that. But Allegra's like, this is my crown. They're trying to steal my crown.
Do not ask me to abdicate my throne.
Do you know how hard I worked to get to this throne, how
Heads
many
will
kids I had to
roll.
kill to get here. Heads will roll. Yes. So they beg Allegra, like, please, you don't understand. Like, for the sake of everyone here, everyone in
Yeah.
Animalia, we need that core spore.
Hmm.
But she refuses. Allegra, she's a girl's girl. She's a materialist. She just wants the nice things. Her girls
Yep.
got her this crown. They made this crown for her. She ain't just gonna hand it on over to
Hand it
these
on over.
human aliens and these other bougie little animals trying to tell her what's what. So she says that the only way they're gonna get that core
Oh
spore from
no.
her is if they drag it off her stinking carcass.
Oh,
Yeah, like they straight up say, like, over my dead body, basically.
I
Like,
hope
if you
there's
want it, you
no
gotta kill me.
tigers or lions in the wings who hear such a
I know.
opportunity.
Trust me, there are some people who would love, or some animals who would love to eat some gator right now.
Yeah,
Have you gone to
exactly.
downtown Animalia recently, Allegra? It's
Right.
wild,
Your
literally
kingdom might be
down
the last
there.
thing standing pretty
Yeah.
soon here.
So that threat may become a reality real quick
Hmm.
here. All right. So Allegra at this point, though, realizing that like Gabubu is not the person that I keep calling them people because they talk, but
That's
whatever.
fine. We know what you mean.
Gabubu is not the animal that she wants to be fighting with, and she
Correct.
is kind of outnumbered. Like, thing is, Allegra's an alligator and she can get pretty fierce, but she's not like super violent. So I don't think her
Yeah.
first instinct is really to fight like
Fight.
Tyrannicus's is
Yeah.
maybe. Like, I think she tries to do things with sass before she like gets
Yeah. That's why she
violent.
has her henchmen. They're the violent ones.
Exactly.
A queen does
Yes.
not get her hands dirty.
Exactly, precisely. Queen Allegra. She decides, like, you know what, we're outnumbered here. So they actually just all run away instead of like being
Okay.
cornered by Gabubu.
Crown's still
Hmm.
on.
Crown is still on.
Okay.
Exactly. So they book it out of there. She don't want these nerds stealing her crown. So she runs with it on her head still.
Uh-huh.
But Gabubu and Iggy have some pretty cool tactics up their sleeves where like I
Mm.
feel like these two would have a cool backstory of just like
Their
doing random
friendship.
shit and like
Yeah.
yeah, you know, like they clearly mess around a lot and like have some interesting strategic tactics because like
Mm.
Gabubu fires Iggy like a cannonball through the forest, and he's able to like grab
That's
the crown off
pretty
of her
cool.
head right as Gabubu swings by on a
Oh
rope and then
shit.
catches Iggy. Yeah,
Oh
so like while
shit.
he throws him like a cannonball, he then hops on a rope and swings over and catches
I
him.
mean,
He
that's
caught the
pretty
pass
freaking
that he
cool.
threw. That's pretty
Yeah, he caught his
impressive.
own pass.
Yeah, that's
Damn, that's pretty
impressive.
cool.
Yeah, not gonna lie. So I'm like, I would love to see a spinoff of just Iggy and Gabubu like
Yeah, just
doing
like
random shit. Like
gallivanting.
exactly the adventures of Gabubu and Iggy.
Yes.
And anyway, so they are able to steal the
Cool.
crown from Allegra's head,
Love
and
it.
then they hand it off to the kids, and all of them make a run for it.
Okay.
And Allegra, she's not able to catch up with them, but she's obviously angry by her crown being stolen, but she's
Hmm.
becoming even angrier than she usually is.
Uh-oh.
Like,
Okay.
so angry that she gets down on all fours, starts growling a little bit and showing
Violence
her
becomes the solution now versus before it was
exactly,
not. Okay.
exactly. And she then starts running towards the city after the kids.
Okay.
So the kids now technically have a wild alligator and a wild tiger on their tails,
And are they also running
chasing
towards
after
the
them.
city?
They are. Everyone is running back to the city at this point
Okay.
now. Yeah, the
So
kids
the
are running
worst
to the
possible place
city.
for these children to be.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because remember, the kids have been gone from the city for a few days, so
Oh,
they're
that's
not
right. They don't
totally
know.
sure exactly.
They don't
And
know.
so far, thankfully for them, Gabubu and Iggy are not showing any signs
Yeah,
of
mainly Kabubu.
changing.
Yeah.
Exactly. All they know, yeah, right. Gabubu's doing his normal thing, but like, yeah, still
Yeah.
terrifying any other day. But like, yeah,
Yeah.
so far, they're still safe with them. All they know is that Tyrannicus and Allegra are being a little weird, but they kind of expect that already. Like they
Yeah,
think
they're-
it's weird, but like he didn't chase us last time like this. Why is Tyrannicus
Yeah.
chasing? I know he wants the stone, but this is weird.
Like,
But
damn,
they
yeah.
they haven't quite put two and two together yet.
Makes sense. Okay.
So they make it back to the library, and once they get into the city, they see like, oh shit, what is happening? Like Rini is outside of the library chasing animals around and like trying to
God.
bang into the library door, and they have to like sneak by her and close the door real shut before she like runs back in after
Uh-huh.
them. And so they have these 9 core spores, and Alex is just like, okay, well, what do we do? We have them. And he's
See
just like,
exactly what do they do now?
Grace, he just starts throwing them at the core. And
He's gonna fucking break them all. This
it's
fucking
hilarious.
Zoe's
'Cause
like,
she's just standing there. Actually, we'll pin and Zoe for a
uh,
second because it's just so funny that he's just like throwing these stones at the core, like, go in, stay in there. And they just like keep bouncing off and falling on the ground in front of
fucking
him.
idiot.
Yeah. And Gabubu's like, it doesn't work that way, dude. It's not how it works. And Alex like tries to like hold one of them up to the core and like go
Bro,
in, like just push it in.
stay in.
And Gabubu is like, no, no, no. It's what's inside of the spores that has to go back in the core. So he says they do actually have to break them open first, which, yeah, like you, I was saying, that seems reckless. Like, you're going to break them. It doesn't
Smash
sound like,
them.
I don't know what these things are. Yeah. But he says that they have to break them open first, and then the things inside of the spores will come out and like fly into the core. And so they're all trying to
Got
like
it.
break
Okay.
them, but they can't. Even Gabubu is like, God, I can't get it
Also,
open.
sorry,
Yeah.
wild that like Alex did not on their way at any point or in the number of days they had together ask the people who were native to this
More
land,
information.
Gubu and Iggy, like,
Yeah.
so what do we do with these afterwards?
Yeah,
Gubu would have been like, oh
exactly.
well, we break them open, then like the core spore flies out and flies into it directly, so we just break them
Exactly.
open. Like,
Yeah. It's like, what did they
you know, just
talk
ask
about?
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, did you guys talk about anything at all?
Alex and
Like,
Zoe, did you guys ask them a single question about themselves? Or did you guys talk about
a
yourselves the whole
single
time
one.
as humans?
The whole time. They're like, on Earth, we get to do this and this. On Earth, we actually would hunt your kind. On Earth. Like, wow, good Lord.
Yeah, you guys could have just asked one question about
Which
this scenario.
So for Zoe's sake, I can understand because she doesn't want to be here. So
She don't
she's
give a
probably like,
shit
I don't want
about
to
you
build an
guys.
attachment. I'm not trying to
Yeah.
get attached to you guys. I don't want to know more about you. And yeah, I don't give a shit about this. I want to go
Yeah.
home. But poor Alex, again, we're like finding more and more out why
Why
this kid
doesn't have
probably doesn't have
friends?
friends in the real world because he's so freaking self-centered.
Yeah, he's only talking about
Literally only talking
himself.
about himself. Apparently he's like a sketch artist, right? Too. Like he always
Yeah.
has his like sketchbook. He's probably just showing them all his pictures
Yeah, his
and stuff. Like,
own
look how good
sketches.
they are. Yeah.
Right, you could have asked
Uh,
one fucking question about this
just
scenario.
one, even.
Even.
Yeah.
What do I do about this? Gubu had the answer.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I've been waiting to tell you this whole time.
And then you just ran in there and started fucking throwing them
Yeah. And it's so
at
funny because
this.
while he's doing that, yeah, Gabubu just shakes his head like, that's not how it works, dude.
These are
Could have
basically
told you this at
holy
any
objects
time.
for us. It holds our society together. These are our
Yeah.
artifacts, and you're just throwing them
Just throwing them?
at like
Sure.
basically our
Break them
god.
open
Great.
with care, please. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned Zoe earlier.
What's she
Well,
up to?
Zoe's probably like, what the fuck? What are you doing? Don't
Yeah.
break those. Like, let me get the fuck out of here. She's not even down there with them at the core anymore. Zoe has made her way upstairs. She's looking for the fucking portal back home, Grace.
She's like, I did what I said. I found the cord spores. Bye, bitch.
Bye. Exactly. And Alex is like asking for her help, like, Zoe, where are you? And she like looks from the balcony upstairs, like, I'm looking for the portal. This is getting too freaky. I'm trying to get the
Where
fuck
do you
on
think
out of
I
here.
am? Going home.
Exactly. And she's like, and also I need you to want to get your ass up on out of here too. So
Yeah.
come on, Alex. Like she's convincing him, like, Alex, I need you to come with me. Like
Yeah.
Alex, come on. Let's go home.
I
now,
am not able
Alex.
to
Come with
explain
me,
where you
please.
went as these cops are
Exactly.
swarming the library, which is where we went missing from. Like,
Exactly.
I can't just come back
Like,
myself.
I need you to come with me. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
she's low key begging him. She's like, I'm leaving. I really need you to come up here too,
Yeah.
Alex. Like this is getting way too freaky here. We cannot stay in this world.
Yeah.
But Alex, he promises that they can leave as soon as they find Livingston, just so that they can get these 9 spores back into the core. And Zoe's like, you have 2 minutes.
And then I will leave your ass behind.
This is my final straw, literally. 120 seconds, go.
Yeah. Countdown.
But Livingston can't be found. Like, they're screaming, they're shouting his name, they're wondering where he may be. They're looking all over this library for him. And so they go to his office. He's still not there, but they see that there is a video waiting to be played on his like computer type thing
Yeah.
that they have in this world. So Iggy, he presses play. And in the disturbing video that follows, like I said, this like
no.
found footage style thing, it's like all staticky and
Shaky. Oh
he's like
no.
super close to the camera,
Yeah,
like
his forehead
labor.
hurts.
Yeah, exactly. Labored breathing, like Alex, Zoe.
Oh
And
my
also, I
God.
want to say, I don't know who the voice actor for Livingston is, but he did not phone this performance in. This man thought that he was in Othello or some shit. Like he's like, this is Hamlet as far as I'm
This
concerned.
is
This
my
is
moment.
Shakespearean gold. Exactly. This is my moment to shine as a voice actor portraying a
And he
talking
did.
lion.
Yes.
And he
Amazing.
sure did. But he explains, and this is what we've all been waiting for in these two
An
episodes.
explanation.
This is what this show is all a frickin' bout, as far as I'm
A
concerned.
is for alligator.
Finally,
He goes through the alphabet.
G is for Gaboo. Livingston explains that the 10 missing core spores
Interesting that he said 10,
are
by the
this.
way. Okay, go on.
Yes, there were 10, and they brought back 9. Keep that
Yes,
in
okay.
mind. The 10 missing core spores are the seeds from Animalia's Bill of Rights. The Bill of...
Okay, I'll let you keep going. I'll let you just keep going.
I had to pause there, too, because that was also my reaction.
Okay, they're not
The
magic.
Bill of Rights...
Okay, got it.
The Bill of Rights give the Animalians the power of communication. And without these 10 core spores that created the Bill of Rights, Animalians will return to their non-civilized state. This could not only lead to major difficulties just in general, as we see outside of the library, but it could lead to the reactivation of the primal food chain, survival of the fittest, and hungriest, Livingston says.
Okay.
And he then warns Alex and Zoe. And he's like roaring through this. Like he's in between trying to talk and like turning back into a lion.
Yeah.
So he's like really trying to like hold himself together through this, but you can tell this lion's going off the edge and the transformation's happening. Exactly. So he warns Alex and Zoe that if they're not careful, they could turn into someone's meal.
Yeah.
Very mindful of him, very demure, very kind. Exactly. Yes. They're like, yeah, been an appetizer, a dessert.
Yeah, I mean,
all
course.
Of it. Yeah. So he tells them that they need all 10 core spores, of course, before they can open any of them, any one of them. You need all of them together. So they are supposed to be open. Gabubu was correct.
But they need one more.
You have to have all of them. Exactly.
I didn't get all 10.
And so he says, if any of those core spores were carried off by the wind of no return, there's only one way to get them back. But before he can explain what that way is, he begins to viciously roar, and the video feed cuts out.
Oh, shit. Okay.
It's too late.
Guess you guys gotta die.
Zoe, yes, sorry, you're never gonna know. So Zoe at this point is like, well, 2 minutes are up. Let's go. Yeah. Let's get the fuck on out of here.
Well, we found him and he's gone. Bye.
He's gone. So bye, guys. But before they can exit the office, they do literally find Livingston. He appears right behind them, roaring and hungry and ready to hunt.
Okay.
And he starts to immediately chase after them. And so Alex, Gabubu, and Iggy, they, like Livingston did before, run to hide on top of a bookshelf where they think he can't climb to for whatever reason.
Great.
And Zoe is like, nah, I'm out. I'm leaving. Like, we got to get the fuck out of here. I'm not going to stay here and keep running from this lion.
A meal. Yeah.
Exactly. So she's still on the ground, by the way, like next
Zoe.
to Livingston saying this. And Alex sees that she's about to get attacked. So he's like, fine, just go. Like, get out of here. Save yourself. We'll be fine. And so Zoe, like, she hesitates for a minute because she's like, well, shit, like,
wait,
I mean, you're about to die, though. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, wait, no,
like,
come
I mean, okay,
but
now I feel kind of badly. You're supposed to come with me, but also there is this lion in between us. So maybe you're right. I'll just go.
Yeah.
So she turns around, she runs away and leaves to find the portal to return to the real world library. And Alex and Gabubu and Iggy, they continue to run and hide from Livingston throughout the Animalian library.
Terrifying. Okay.
Very. Like, would a horror movie
This
truly
is giving
all
me
of
like
this?
raptors in Jurassic Park in the lab energy.
Yes,
That
literally.
scene fucked
Yes.
me up when I was like 8. I was
Yes.
so scared of that scene.
Which also just rewatched that movie. They were screening it at a restaurant near me, so
Oh,
I went and
that's
saw
fun.
it. It's so good. Lives up. Same thing where it's like watching with a group in hindsight. You like
Yeah,
notice the funny things that people don't notice when it
right.
didn't
When it
notice
first
when it
came
first
out.
came out. Anyways, but yes, that raptor scene, chef's kiss,
Yep.
Spielberg, you genius.
You did it.
Anyways, you did it.
A lion in a
So yes.
library.
So Zoe, she finds this portal back to the real world
Oh, great.
and she goes back. Yeah, it's still there.
Whoa.
It's there. So she goes back and she lands in the real world library and
Oh,
immediately calls her friend Emma, who you
yes,
talked
her
about in
bestie.
your first episode, her bestie. She was on the phone with her at the very beginning of episode 1. And Zoe immediately like tells Emma like, "I'm all right, Emma. It's okay. Like, are my parents worried about me? Have they been calling? Are they
Uh-huh.
wondering about me?" And Emma is just like, "What? Like, why would your parents be worried about you? What the hell? What's going on, Zoe? Are you okay?"
Yeah.
Zoe's like, "Well, because I've been gone for a really long time, or at least like it feels like it." And so unpin that pen from earlier,
Oh,
Grace,
yeah, time. Okay, tell me.
because Emma, super confused, then tells Zoe, like, "What are you talking about? I just talked to you on the phone a few minutes ago."
Okay. Okay.
And
Got it.
Zoe's like, "Wait, what time is it?" And Emma and like the librarian too, like he points to a clock at the same
Yeah.
time that Emma says, like, "I don't know, it's like 4:30 on the same day that they first traveled
Okay.
to Animalia,"
Okay.
which we know in that first episode, I don't think they like showed us the time, but you can
Yeah.
assume it was like right after school. So it was probably
Yeah.
sometime
So,
between like 3:30 and 4, and now it's only
yeah,
4:30. And remember, they were searching for
for
those core
days.
spores for days, according to the
Okay.
Boo Boo. And who knows how many days went by in Animalia in the first episode.
Right.
So they've been in Animalia for like 2 weeks, maybe a week or so
And
at
it's
least.
been
15,
basically
20 minutes
nothing.
maybe in the real world.
Wow. Okay.
Exactly.
Good to know.
So Zoe is super confused and tells Emma that it felt like she was there for days, like I was saying, in Animalia for days, quote
Uh-huh.
unquote. And Emma's like, "What the fuck is Animalia? What are you
Where?
talking
Yeah.
about?" Yeah, like where Anna what? Anna
Yeah.
who? And she obviously can't believe what Zoe is saying as she describes Animalia as this place where animals can talk and they have their own society and blah, all this stuff has had a
Yeah.
whole city. And she's like, "Emma, you sound crazy. You're so weird." And they just laugh.
Yeah.
And then Zoe hangs up the phone, like, "Ah, you're weird too," and then hangs up.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh my God," like it all hits her at this point, like just did for us. She's like, "Time works different in Animalia."
Mm.
So I guess I could go back and
Oh,
my
I could be back
parents,
home for
I
dinner
could make home
still.
for dinner. Yeah. So she hangs up the phone and she runs back towards that hidden corner of the library where the portal is.
Uh-huh.
But on her way there, she feels a slight breeze moving through the aisles of bookshelves and
Ooh, okay.
through the halls of this library. And she follows this breeze down a row of shelves and it leads her straight to this mysterious blue book right smack dab in the middle of this long bookshelf.
Hmm.
She pulls it off the shelf and she looks at it, and the book is entitled The Wind of No Return.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
And so it takes her a second, and then she's like, "Oh my God, that's the thing Livingston was talking
Okay,
about,
yeah.
The Wind of No Return." So she excitedly opens this book up, and all we see is like a neon blue light flashing
Hell
on her
yeah.
face as if it's like shooting directly out of the pages of the book.
Uh-huh.
And so she then plucks out from the book the 10th and final core
Hell
spore.
yeah. Also,
And
how the
so
fuck were they
she,
supposed to find this otherwise?
I know, right? Like
That north wind?
what?
Wind to nowhere, I mean?
The
I
wind,
guess
the wind of
blows
no return.
no
Like,
return blows to earth because
yeah.
if the animals follow that wind, that means they're a wild
Yeah.
animal in the library, which means they gonna get immediately
Which is
shot.
dangerous, exactly, which means one less
NYPD is coming in
animalian.
there and
Yes.
they're not taking them to the Bronx Zoo. They're done.
Yes. But it also, I feel like this opens up so much speculation about the show, and it makes me want to watch all of the show. I don't know if I ever will, but
Yeah.
and this is why earlier before we started recording, I was saying like I'm tempted to cover the last episode because I
Oh, to
need to
see how
see
it
how this
ends.
all connects. because it seems like the Wind of No Return is a permanent fixation in this real world library. Like this was an
Yeah.
actual book that she just picked up off the shelf.
Right.
So it seems like this book is the connection to the animal world. Like if things
Yeah,
get
like is
picked
that the
off by the
portal?
Wind of No Return, is that itself a portal? And when she picks the core spore out of this book, a portal
Hmm.
opens right behind her too, back to
Oh,
Animalia. Yeah. So it adds all of these more questions about like how the fuck
yeah.
are they getting to Animalia? What is this
What's
portal
this portal
business?
situation? How did
Why
that other
is it in
portal
this
happen?
library?
The first
Exactly, because
portal?
the first portal had nothing to do with the Wind of No Return. It was just Alex
Yeah.
like stumbling upon shit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, what the hell is going on? And then when you add that into the way time works down there and everything,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, hold on a second. Did did Alex and Zoe get concussed when they ran into each other in this first episode? And they're literally just like dreaming about books that they've read in the library, and they're
Yeah.
turning it into this whole fictional world of Animalia and like some concussion induced coma
Yeah,
or
some like
something.
shared, yeah, fever dream,
Yeah,
shared coma, lucid
exactly.
dreaming together.
It's
I don't
some
know.
crazy sort of thing because it appears to me that all of the stuff happening in Animalia is like a metaphor for books that these kids are finding in the library. And it's
Yeah.
all connecting to like that kind of stuff. And it's like, yeah, when
Um,
you're asleep having a dream, you might be taking like a 20-minute nap, but it feels like 5 hours have passed in
right,
your
right,
dream.
right.
Or vice versa. You might be asleep for 5 hours, but only remember like 2 minutes
10
of a
seconds,
dream or
yeah.
something like that, you know? So I'm
I
like,
feel more confused.
these
I thought
kids in a coma and we're dead.
I
What is
thought your
happening?
episode was going to answer so many questions, but
No, in some
I
ways
have
it
more.
answered questions, but in other ways it raises
It
more. Like it
opened up
answers
a
stuff about
lot
the core
more.
spores, yeah.
Yes, it answers
But
stuff about
also
like the fabric of Animalia, but not how that fabric is interwoven with our world.
with the real world.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And
Okay.
yeah, it's interesting. And to the extent
Okay.
that it answers stuff about the core spores too, it still leaves a lot of questions because like we
The
see
Bill of
core
Rights.
spores go, oh, yeah, like what? The Bill of Rights? What the fuck does that have to what?
So they
I was
wrote the
like, you
Bill of
guys are
Rights, and then the core
honestly,
spores became something, or you got the core spores and wrote the Bill of Rights around it.
yeah. Cause like so two things with that, and then we'll get back to this. And I am
I know.
getting
I'm
to
so
the end
sorry.
of this
I
episode.
derailed
No, no,
us.
no. This is basically the end of the episode anyways. But the one thing with the core spores is like not all of them have to do with the Bill of Rights. So we see 10 get ejected from the core in
Right,
this
and those
episode, but
are the
like there
Bill of
were
Rights
ones,
ones.
yeah, but like there were ones in your episode that were ejected. There were ones in other
Yeah,
episodes. Like they're trying to find core. That's the whole
these
thing
are the
about this show, I
amendments.
think. Exactly. We got the 14th Amendment, very important one. We've got a lot of them. So it's interesting. It's almost like and I groaned and kind of rolled my eyes. Look, respect for these writers, respect for these
Clearly,
creators. But when they said Bill of Rights, I cannot express how big of a
the eye
groan and
roll.
eye roll, especially like as a
Oh,
lawyer that I gave watching this. I was like, are you serious? Really? Like, this is a cop out. You guys are copping this out. They're just thinking of whatever they can for these core spores in each
PBS
episode
was
to be like,
like, you
oh,
got to make this educational somehow. You guys have
yeah.
already left out the alphabet entirely from this original book. You got to bring education somehow into it. So they were like, what's the thing they
Bill
lie
of
about PBS?
Rights?
Bill of Rights. That's a thing. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they
Put it
like
in.
Schoolhouse Rock, right? Kids still like
Yeah,
Schoolhouse Rock. We can make this about the Bill of
put it in
Rights.
there.
But yeah, and it's I don't know, it's crazy because it is like super on the nose the way that they
Yeah.
interpret it too. Like the metaphors are so clear. Like the Bill of Rights holds together the society. And yes,
Uh,
if we lose any of these 10 course for,
will it
all
fall
of society
apart?
will collapse. What even is society without a Bill of Rights? You know? And I was like, ah.
All
Okay,
right.
we get it.
A
Good
little
Lord, get off
heavy-handed
your
there.
soapbox. I know.
Yeah, soapbox. We're
But
just
also,
kicking
we
the
respect
soapbox.
and appreciate the message.
Yes.
It was
A
funny
little
watching it
too.
because I'm like,
It's
guys,
a little too
this
much of
is
a
a show
stretch.
about the alphabet and animals.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like
Reel it in.
having like the
Reel it in.
magic or like having the course force feel so magical and then to ground them in something man-made and written is like, all
Exactly.
right, it's lost the
Really.
magic.
Yes. And just you wait, we learn what these at least like 8 or 9 of these bills of rights, these amendments these
Okay,
10
great.
amendments are. So yeah,
Can't wait to
I'll
hear
read
them.
through them in just a moment.
Oh my God,
But
okay.
anyway, so yeah, some questions about Animalia and the core and core spores answered. Many,
Okay.
many more now, new questions
Yes.
created by this episode. We'll see how much of it we get answers to by the end of this arc. I'm not feeling
Yeah.
confident in a lot, though. I'm pretty sure the cores have a different purpose in every single episode. So we'll see where this goes.
Yeah, okay.
Anyways, so Zoe, like I said, she grabs this core spore out of the Wind of No Return book, and a
Mm,
portal back to Animalia opens right behind her in this
great.
library. So she decides to take the final spore back to Alex so that they can release all 10 of the spores back into the core to save all of these Animalians.
Mm.
And boy, oh boy, Grace, is her timing great because at
Found
this
some dead
point,
bodies.
almost.
She
She
trips
almost
on
came back
Alex's
to a dead
corpse.
Alex to seeing like 3 animals feeding on Alex's body right in front of her in the library, and she would have been next
She's like
because
nudges the core spore through that portal and walks back in.
it just like slowly eases back. Like they'll probably figure it out on their own from
He seems
here.
fine.
Or she's like, hey, we found all 10 of them. That's all I
I did what I
promised to
said.
do. Exactly.
Bye.
I'm out. But yes, right when she gets back, or I should say the moment before she gets back to
Yes.
Animalia, we see that Gabubu and Iggy have now also lost all power of communication.
Oh
They've lost
no.
their
Okay.
senses, and they are now also acting super wild and feral.
Okay.
And it seems now that there's literally no one who's really trying to save or protect Alex anymore.
Yeah.
And it's actually kind of funny the scene where Gabubu goes wild, like he's saving them. I think he's protecting Alex from like Tyrannicus and Allegra, who are now approaching the library.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, oh, thank God I have you looking after me, Gabubu. And we just see Gabubu go into like 1,000 yard stare and kind
Oh
of like start like
no.
shaking his head and start like groaning and
Oh
like making like
no.
gorilla noises and
Oh
stuff.
no.
And Alex is like, oh shit.
I have I
Until
have
Gabubu
you
was like pounding on
because
his
I have you.
chest. Yeah. Gabubu, you still there, buddy?
The
Greg?
Anakin
Is that-
Padme scene. Speaking of Star Wars, which we were talking about before this episode
Yes.
together.
Yeah.
Right?
Right? You're joking, right, Gabubu? Right?
You have me, right, Kabooboo? Right?
Yeah. So, yeah, Alex, he's alone here and he is surrounded by wild primal animals. Like I said, Tyrannicus and Allegra, they've made their way out of the jungle
Oh,
into the library. They have Alex's Stenton there. Livingston, he is still in the library. He's still prowling around looking for
yikes.
them. Reenie is right outside, still banging on the door or something, probably going crazy. But thankfully, although Gabubu is in his total like gorilla mindset now, I think he has grown close enough to Alex to still know to kind of
He's
protect him.
part
So
of
even
the
though he's still beating his chest, exactly,
part of
he
his
actually
little gorilla
his little
community. I don't know if they're
exactly
called
he
gorillas, yeah.
sees Alex as a fellow gorilla.
Yeah, not wrong.
Why not? So even in yes, his wild mindset, he basically jumps in front of Alex and stands between him and all of
Yeah.
these other predators approaching him. And he starts kind of like fighting off Tyrannicus and Allegra and like scaring them, like pounding on his chest and everything to get them to at least slow down and back away. And Alex isn't doing anything. Like he's not running for his life. He's not trying to think of any creative way to open these spores or like find some solution. No, he's just like standing there in fear, like, I'm about to die.
I'm
like I think he's I'm dead. And he's like,
I
there's literally
understand that, I
just
guess.
a gorilla between me and all of these other dangerous
Right.
animals, which again, all things considered, is the best option, but it's
Right.
still not a
But
great option. It's the
when
best of a terrible.
multiple
Exactly.
predators are approaching. Yeah.
Yeah, he's outnumbered. Like he can scare them for now, but like
But
he is
they're coming.
outnumbered at the end of the day. Yes.
Yeah.
But thankfully, this is, of course, right when Zoe flies through the portal and lands right in front of Alex with the 10th and final core spore.
Great.
And so the core, which is continually like becoming agitated and is still like causing these like little minor tremors and earthquakes in
Uh-huh.
the library, and like kind of also helping to slow down all these animals getting ready to kill Alex and Zoe.
Mhm.
Um, so that's still happening, by the way. Just total
Great.
danger. This is just insane, by the way. I'm sorry. Like my
Yeah.
wrapping my brain
Zoe is
around this
right
and
this
how
whole
Alex
time to be
this
like,
whole
we need to
time
fucking leave.
I was annoyed with her in the first episode, but then this episode made me realize, oh no, Zoe is like the
Yeah.
person that the audience is supposed to relate to the most,
Yeah,
because
being
she's like
like,
the outside
yes,
observer looking in saying, what the fuck are we doing?
the
Like
grounded,
she
insane
has the
woman.
power of hindsight in the present moment,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know? So yes, Alex, he grabs this core spore from Zoe. Very happy to see her back, happy to see that she found it. I think she explains to him that it came from the wind of no return. She doesn't really
Yeah,
elaborate on what that means to Alex, but she does say, like, I found it at the
yeah,
library in
I
the wind
did
of no
it.
return, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
I did it. You're welcome.
you're welcome.
And and so Alex runs all of these spores back down to the core, and he just kind of holds them up in front of the core. And then magically, all of the spores kind of just levitate and they open up, they crack
Oh,
almost right in the
easy.
middle, like nice little eggs.
Uh-huh.
And out of them, we see these neon, like silhouettes almost of
Okay.
birds, of like
Oh,
tropical birds flying
beautiful.
out of the spores. It is very beautiful, actually. They're like neon green and orange, yellow, just all the blue,
Oh,
various. It's like they're
uh-huh.
all the colors of whatever the spore that they came out of was.
Okay.
And yeah, they're just like circling. They start taking flight, these silhouettes, and they're circling their way around the core until
Hmm.
all of them just line up and fly directly into the center of the core.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
And what I can only describe as like parrot voices, like just
Did
think
they
of
all say their, just say, just
each
go on, tell me what they
each
all say.
bird apparently represents one of the 10 amendments in
And then
this
they announce
Animalian Bill of
themselves.
Rights. They announce themselves and what their law, their Bill of Rights are, or
Uh-huh.
whatever, as they're flying inside this core.
Oh my God. Okay.
And
Painful. Painful.
what we hear, remember, this is PBS. It has to be educational. It has
Yes,
to
let's
have
hear
educational
it.
value for kids. It has to be community oriented.
Okay.
These parrot voices are saying, words explain everything. Play with, like, I'm going to list through
I hate
them
it.
and
I
then you
hate
can
it.
react
Okay.
afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay. The
Yeah.
first one. And I'm not even going to try the accents because it'll just sound
No,
too goofy.
don't even
Words
bother.
explain everything is
Okay.
one. Two, play with words and have fun.
Okay.
Three, be careful what you say and how you say it.
Okay.
Four, read anything.
Okay.
Five,
Love that
read
one.
everything.
Love that one.
Six, listening is part of talking, which that I actually really loved. I was
Oh,
like, damn.
okay.
I was like, snaps for
The
that one,
first three or
actually.
four were kind of lame, but okay, they're
Yes,
picking up.
yes. What did I say? Six, seven, separate fact from fiction.
Ooh.
Eight, I know, communication unites the world. And nine,
Wow.
protect our resources. And I feel like there's a 10th one in there. I don't know. It gets really jumbled, the audio, and they're repeating some of the same ones over and over. So I was like
Oh,
trying to
it's like
pick apart and
birds.
like separate. Like I really was trying to get all 10 of them, but
Yeah.
it's just kind of hard to hear. And again, the voices that they choose to use, I know that we like them when I read them out, like in that matter of
But they're
fact way.
like,
But when you hear the voice actors'
"Good."
choices that they made, yeah, like communication unites the world.
Okay, I fucking hate it again. I was on
I'm like, I
board,
can't take
but
I'm
now
like
I'm
that's a
back
great
off.
lesson, but I can't take it seriously when you say it like that.
When you don't like understand it to begin with, because you can't freaking hear
Yeah.
it.
It's
Okay,
like you're kind of
amazing.
ruining the effect of this. Like, guys, I
Yeah.
can't learn it if I'm laughing through what you're saying or
Yeah.
can't, like you said, can't even hear
And I
it.
missed the last one.
So
Okay.
yes, so those are basically the Bill of Rights of Animalia,
Okay.
which I mean, yeah, in hindsight, really good lessons. And like I said, that
Yeah.
listening is part of talking one. I was like, damn, we
Man.
need to be
Read
reminding people of
anything,
that
read
shit today.
everything. Okay, we
Exactly.
like it.
Separate fact from fiction. Yeah. The one
Mm.
that I really laughed with, other than the communication unites the world one, because of the way that the voice said it,
Yeah.
was play with words and have fun, though. I was
Yeah,
like,
again, those like first three, I was like, what the fuck is this
like
about to be?
what?
This is gonna be painful. And then they got good. They like hooked you in with some stupid ones to be like, yeah, we're not just coming out the gate swinging. But they learned
Exactly.
that.
Like
Those were some
we're a little
warm-ups.
goofy here too. But
Yeah.
I guess that one, the play with words and have fun one was funny to me because I tried to like put myself in the mindset of like a 10-year-old watching this show or
Yeah.
something. For me, I would be like, what? So like start cussing? I don't know. What does this mean? Like play with words like, ooh, I want to try that word.
Right.
Shit.
Wait.
Oh, ooh, that was fun.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Thank you,
one's
PBS Kids, for telling me
stupid.
to do this.
Yeah.
I'm not reading anything or everything. I
Yeah.
will play with words though.
They should have had
Yeah.
those ones at the end because from the start I was like, this can't be serious. But
I
so
know
they
you
already
weren't taking it
lost me.
seriously.
And then they were good at the
Yeah.
end. They should have flip-flopped it, or I don't know. They should have rewritten
hmm
those first three.
Yeah. Or they should have had like Livingston say them or something. It would have been more serious.
Yes,
They made it sound too
exactly.
goofy.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyways, so eventually the swirling, magical blending colors of all of these birds, it starts to fill up the core until it begins to change from that foreboding red color that it was before to the
Uh-huh.
normal, bright, warm, and sunshiny yellow color that it is known to typically have.
Hmm.
And the animals then, they all gather around and they watch this beautiful sight take place. And as the core regains its natural state, the animals likewise regain their powers of civility, I guess, and their
Wow.
ability to communicate.
Imagine like you're coming back to and like you're a tiger and you just have like your friend's leg in your mouth.
In your mouth.
Like talk about just like, ooh,
Yee.
awkward.
Yikes.
I do not
Well,
want to run into that gazelle at the coffee shop this weekend. We
no, he like still has a chunk taken out of him. He's like using
yeah.
crutches and just looks at you like, good to see you
So
again,
fucking bad.
Tyrannicus.
Yeah, sorry about
Sorry
that.
about that. I
I
was
already
not
said
myself that day.
sorry.
Yeah. Well, and hilarious that you said that because, yeah, like for the most part, all of the animals except for like the core group, basically, like
Yeah.
Reedy, Livingston, Gabooboo, Iggy, Tyrannicus, who else am I missing? I think that's it. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
all the main characters in the show, they all seem, minus Allegra. That's right. Allegra, I don't think she's smart enough to realize what's going on, but all of the others besides Allegra, they seem to be like waking up from like a coma,
Uh-huh.
like kind of with amnesia, but knowing they're like, God, how did I get here?
Oh.
Like, what
Okay,
the
that's
hell? Like,
good, I
oh,
guess.
but like also knowing that they're
Something
back
weird's
to
happened.
normal.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, they know that like they were going wild and they're just like, woo, that was a close one. Like,
Ooh, glad I don't remember
don't
any of
want that to
that.
happen
Hey, where
again.
did my
But
friend
like,
go?
yeah,
I
like
don't feel
burp up a
hungry
feather.
anymore. Yeah.
But meanwhile, like everyone else seems to be like having amnesia. Like, where am I? How did I get here?
Oh,
Like,
okay,
what was that?
interesting.
What just happened? But
Yeah.
yeah, so funny that you said that because yeah, most of these animals have no clue what just
Awkwardness
happened to
took care
them.
of itself.
Very likely that friends just ate friends, maybe even
Yeah.
family
Y'all
members,
did some
and the
things
heat
you're
of all
gonna
of it.
regret in the morning if you could remember, if you didn't
hmm
black out.
It's a good thing that you won't remember them. Yes.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, even though some of them are kind of feeling like a little amnesia going on here,
Uh-huh.
all the animals do realize that whatever the fuck just happened, Alex and Zoe were the ones who saved them from impending death
Okay.
and doom.
Great.
And so they quickly thank those two and are
Okay.
basically like, God, we're in your debt. Like, you just saved us and all of Animalia. Thank you
Mm.
so much. And so Alex, he takes a look at Zoe and asks her, like, hey, so I guess you found some sort of portal of your own, right? And
Hmm.
Zoe kind of laughs it off and says, yeah, I guess Animalia isn't just your thing after all. It's my thing too, implying that
Aww.
she's ready to stay and help out down there for
Mm.
as long as it takes, knowing that
Until
only
dinner.
like 30 minutes of real world time has passed in the like 2 weeks
Mm.
that they've been in this magical
Yeah.
place. And so the two decide to hang out for a bit longer and celebrate their victory with the animals. The end.
Wow. Wow. Someone wakes
hmm
up and they're like, my thigh. Why is there a chunk out of it? Get me to the hospital.
I'll never walk again.
They wake up and they're holding their best friend in their arms, bleeding out.
Like
How did it happen?
spleen, like intestines, like coming
Yeah,
out and
it's like
stuff, like
everywhere
ripping.
that's not the library is a fucking war zone. I never got to say goodbye.
But meanwhile, like Livingston and Renee and them are like
Like
partying with Alex and
hugging.
Zoe.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. They're like applauding them. They're having
Everything's
like a parade, like a
fine.
hero's parade. Yeah. It's like the camera pans out and gets like the overall view, and you just see like smoke and fire in the trees and like dead animals
Screams
laid
still,
out.
like
Yeah.
EMTs and ambulances, like field medics running everywhere.
Yeah.
I lost my whole
Yeah.
family that day, and I don't even know who killed
And then they
them.
like
Like,
target Alex and Zoe for not
yeah,
saving them soon enough.
it's
I feel like
amnesia,
this
so
is
it just
like a
becomes
John Wick
memento.
video. Yeah. Yes, Memento.
I was trying to remember who killed his wife.
I was like, why do I feel like this is the plot of a movie we've seen?
We just
Amazing.
see like one elephant with like tattoos on like all over his body trying to figure out who killed his wife.
Yeah, exactly.
On that day, no one can remember,
No one
but
can
I will.
remember, but it was him who killed his own wife. And then that's like the ending twist. Like Alex turns around in some evil villain's chair. He says, "Don't you know?
It was
all
you."
along, it was you."
Yeah,
And he
just
like
plays
plays
the sound
the
footage
video.
with the
Yeah.
butterfly in the background, it's the elephant
Yeah.
stomping.
We return the cause. We brought you back to the normal order. You've been lying to yourself for all
The
these
whole
years, Mr.
time.
Elephant.
Years.
Yeah, it's like years later. Like, Alex is like 20 years old now. Alex and
Exactly.
Zoe.
It was always you, your own worst enemy. And to think you all thought humans were the savages.
And now
How
there's like this whole
evil.
plot of them like taking out core spores every now and again. Dude, I feel like Alex and Zoe
playing
can
with
fuck
the
this
fucking
place up.
universe here.
Exactly. They're
why
like
he's not any
turning
friends.
animals wild too to like turn everyone against each other. Yeah, dude, he's a narcissist. I believe
This
it.
man is straight up evil. This sociopath
Yeah.
situation. Wow. Great
Yeah.
job. Yes, this
Thank
answered
you.
some questions I had left and created more, but some
Mhm.
questions were answered. Others still there. But you know what?
Yeah.
We'll see what it brings us.
We'll see. Maybe we'll answer them in the next 6 or however many episodes. But
Wow. Great
yeah,
job.
still, I think the biggest takeaway from this episode is that these kids actually might just be in a coma and are just imagining everything because they're just thinking
Yeah.
of, and in their coma, they're just thinking of like various books that they've both read at the library, and somehow
some
it's like
Page
a joint
Master shit going
psychosis
on.
coma type thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
like yeah, Page Master, exactly.
Yeah,
That's
basically
good.
much
That's
darker
good.
though.
That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Great job.
Yep. But maybe
Maybe.
we'll answer more questions next week when Grace does her next episode.
Maybe.
We'll see. But until then, Grace, who should the listeners and viewers tell about this show?
I think you should tell someone who works in conservation about this show, because I was thinking about those rhinos. There's a lot of
Yeah.
conservation efforts around them. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be like wildlife conservation, but bonus points if it is wildlife conservation. And tell them about the show. They're doing good work out there. Necessary,
Nice.
hard,
Yes,
good work.
absolutely.
And who else should they tell?
After that, you should tell someone who owns a towing and roadside service company.
Oh, they're on the road all damn day
And
long. They got to listen to
They
something.
are. They need something to listen to. And, ask them, how do you advertise for those services? You find the
put
most
some
dangerous
nails
intersections
on the road to pop some tires so people
Yeah.
need help on the side of the road. That also feels
Exactly.
illegal.
Find some potholes, some of
Yeah.
the worst potholes in the area, and just kind of nicely put your
They got a little
advertisements
jackhammer
on the
on the
nearest.
road,
They're
breaking
out there
those.
like 2 in the morning,
Yeah.
jackhammering shit. Yeah. They're like,
Wow.
we know.
Yep.
They like put their ad in the pothole.
Exactly at the bottom from when you fall in.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Let them know.
Yeah. Let them know. And until next week,
Bye.
bye. Thanks for tuning in to Saturday Morning Mysteries.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share, rate, review, leave us a like, and drop a comment. We post episodes every Saturday and bonus tune tangents whenever we feel like it. So please subscribe so you don't miss the shenanigans.
And if you want to follow us on YouTube, click the bell under the YouTube subscribe button to receive notifications when new videos are posted.
And if you want to subscribe to the podcast, we have no idea what you're listening to us on, so just hit the big subscribe button on whatever app you're using. We believe in you.
Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at SatmornMist, all the abreves, and let us know if you have any episode or show requests by emailing SaturdayMorningMysteries@gmail.com.
Thanks to Jenna Kendall for the logo design and to Ava Sakiki for the music used during this week's episode.
See y'all groovy kids next week on Saturday Morning Mysteries.